Well, hello everyone. My name is Juan Martinez. Today, today we're gonna be having our learning hours. And this time around, since I don't have anyone here yet, I'm gonna go over derivation on rheology. But I think it will be helpful for you guys who are working on the homework right now. So let's start with a solid, or not solid, but static liquid. And let's apply a shear, the y plane, x direction. All right. When we do that, what we're gonna find out is that since we're applying it here, and let's say that here we have a static surface, we're gonna have a velocity profile such that the further we go from the applied shear, the velocity profile is going to decrease. All right. But something that we can do with this is to quantify how much it has changed. So, for example, we have this, we find this as our previous liquid, like static liquid, and then when we apply this shear, we generate this velocity profile. What we can do now is to calculate how the liquid has changed by applying this, by applying this shear. So what we have here is some height, or we can call delta y. And since we have, I didn't define my coordinate systems, so we have x and y. And we have some change in x, right? Yeah, which is this one here. Let's do another color. It's blue here. Looks like delta x. So, and now we have what's delta x, delta y, and this angle theta, right? As we can see, we have now a right triangle. And this right triangle, what we can do is that we can have us. Oh, hello.
Are you doing learning hours?
Yeah.
Can I sit here and just listen?
Yeah, for sure. No problem. Thank you. Yeah, I'm LA for transport.
You're what?
I'm an LA for transport phenomena. It's a class in biomedical engineering.
Okay, really, I have something going on afterwards, but you sounded like you were talking about something interesting, so I figured I'd sit here and listen.
You're well welcome. Yeah, please. I don't have anyone. I'm talking about myself. Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought. I was like, I think he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
Are you recording?
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting if I want to listen. What's your name?
I'm Diva.
Diva? Nice to meet you. Juan.
Juan, nice to meet you.
I'm a senior in BME.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I'm working with Dr. Mancy in the LA program. It's a learning assistant program.
All right, very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying. So by this shear that we apply, we have a difference in x depending on how the velocity has changed, and different y depending on how it changes over the height. So we have an angle. So we basically can derive a relationship between this angle, this side, and this side. So we were saying before, it's a right triangle. We have the opposite and the adjacent. So that is tangent. So by using the tangent of theta, we can relate over opposite or adjacent side. But something funny is that when we have usually this angle, we're talking about differential, really small changes in height and width. This angle over here is going to tend to be really, really small. So that we know about really small angles is that the tangent of a really small angle approaches the value of that angle. So in this case, we can make this assumption, and therefore we can write the change in this angle over here, or how this angle changes, which is what I tried to say that is very small, is going to be equal to change of x over change. All right, what can we do with that? All right. So we were talking earlier about velocity. So this is a velocity vector, and it's going in the x direction. Therefore, it's a velocity vector in the x direction. Let's define that. So we know that velocity is equal to change in distance over change in time, right? Okay. But we have change of distance over here. So if we solve for delta x, we can then have delta x is equal to the velocity in the x direction multiplied times change in time. We can then insert that in this equation, and then we have that change in theta is equal to the change in x times, the velocity in x is change in time divided by, as you can see, velocity x, change in time, divided by change y. Afterwards, we can derive the following relationship, which is the change in the angle over time is going to be equal to the velocity in the x direction over the change in height. So now, this, we know it as the rate of the formation. And this over here, in those something really interesting, right? So, something that I forgot is we're talking about differences in height and the x, y. This is also going to be applied here. So be a change in velocity. So something interesting happens when we have over change over delta approaching zero. We have a differential change. If we have a differential change, we know that differential theta over t will be equal to dvx over y. All right, so the rate of the formation is going to be equal to what we call the shear rate. So this expression right here is equal to over shear rate, derivative differential velocity divided by differential in the y component. It's very interesting because if we multiply this expression by viscosity, denoted by the letter mu, we then have what we call shear stress. Since we are in the x direction y plane, we have y x. Shear stress in the y plane x direction is going to be equal to viscosity times over shear rate. As we derived before, it's equal to the viscosity times differential velocity in x direction divided by differential y, right? This relationship is true for Newtonian fluids. Right? We have 42 fluids that we're going to be covering in class, but this is, say, the easiest of them all. Something interesting that we can then notice from here is that by rearranging this equation as shear stress So if we, by some method, we calculate what the shear stress is, and also shear rate, we can, at least for Newtonian fluids, we can derive what the viscosity is. So let's just write that really quick over here. Derive what the shear rate is equal to the viscosity. This expression over here is called the apparent viscosity, which is the shear stress divided by the shear rate. And for a Newtonian fluid, it's equal to the viscosity. So if we plot the shear rate and the shear stress, we're gonna find, we're gonna get a linear relationship in which, as we said, we see over here, this slope, the change of shear rate with respect to shear stress is going to be equal to, so you guys said, yeah, the viscosity. All right. Yeah, it's apparent viscosity. And something interesting about the apparent viscosity is that for this case, if we plot same x-axis, so the shear rate, but against the apparent viscosity, we get that we get a constant plot. How is that? All right, let's see. So we will be, this case, having viscosity divided apparent viscosity. Something I gotta get back to you guys there because I don't remember how that deriving this comes around. I'm gonna send you an email with that later tonight. All right, let's keep talking about different rheologies. So the next one in town is called BME class. This type of fluid is interesting because it's a solid until up to a threshold, and then it becomes a liquid. So in a sense, it's very similar, not saying really, it's really similar to an Newtonian fluid. And actually, if we think about it, this is a broader family of fluids and a particular case of what we know as a different plastic is an Newtonian fluid. So we have, so for this type of fluid, we know that the shear stress is going to be equal to the minimum. Boy, Steven, how you doing? Oh, since nobody was here, I was like going over like stuff.
Okay.
Like the revision of the log. Do you have any questions? I know the homework is due today. So.
Yeah, I was just gonna look at the homework really quick and then ask later questions.
Sure.
So I was kind of confused.
Well,
Like not confused, but like on the last part, I don't know if because we didn't really go over like two plate until today,
yeah.
but I don't think because I think you're just giving the ratios instead. So like for I know like for number 3, the homework it says like you double the
Oh, okay.
velocity and then like it changes proportionally. So like for one of them it's linear and then the other is it's like 3, 1.
3, 1. Okay, let's
Like
see if I can find that for you really quickly. Sorry.
you- So then, like, that would lead me to think that it's Newtonian.
Transport. Okay, so. Oh, I think I have it here actually. Let's think about it. So, transport. All right, let's say that we have. Let me finish this relationship, and that actually is gonna help us solve this problem. I was saying, I'm gonna finish my thoughts really quickly and then go to. So within plastic, we have a yield stress, which is, so saying this amount of shear required, the same amount of, shear required to make this liquid, this entity a liquid, else it would be a solid, plus what we have before, or shear rate, right? And then if we look at the same plots I was talking about earlier, we have the shear stress against the shear rate to be also a linear relationship in which the y-intercept is going to be equal to shear stress, and then the slope of this line is going to be equal to viscosity. And then if we're doing another part in which we have shear rate and apparent viscosity, we are going to have a plot like this, in which as soon as we are increasing the shear rate, we're going to be approaching the value of viscosity. And the last one, the family, is the power flow. So power fluid is fluid that is defined as its shear rate, shear stress to be from N5 to N, and then upon viscosity, which is equal to shear stress over the shear rate, it's going to be equal to same M shear rate to the N minus 1. Then we have for our shear stress, to shear rate over shear stress, we're gonna have three types: Hamiltonian. Then we have thickening and a thin. So thin. Thickening. So, and then we do another part. Since we are working with algorithms to do a plot of the algorithm of shear rate and the shear stress, we can then calculate what, let's say, what M is. Yeah. Okay. The problem that we have, we're looking to solve is 3. And 3, basically we have a velocity that when we apply some force yields velocity 1. And then when we apply 3 volts, velocity 1, we get some 3 volts. Yeah.
So
It's not 3. I'm just making the
yeah.
making the number. Oh.
Oh, okay. I see. No.
So when we do 3 volts that force, we get some velocity 1 multiplied by something, depending on the fluid, and fluid 1, and then when we get 8 volts, the force, we get also some um, relationship is what we're trying to derive here, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. So let's work with fluid one. So fluid one, we have the for the velocity, the initial force, we're gonna have initial velocity. Then for 3 volts force, you're going to have a, this case will be a 3 volts velocity, 1. And then if we do an 8 volts of the force, we're gonna have 8 volt of the velocity. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So what do we do now? You have to work with,
Essentially, you could just see, like, since they're proportional, it's just a Newtonian, because it's just like,
okay,
there's basically just like, there's no, like, it crosses at 0, so it's not like,
that
yeah,
is our yield stress.
yield stress would be 0.
Okay. But how do you write that in math? Because if you say that to me, it sounds good, but show me the money, you know?
My guess would be,
Uh-huh.
you would just do,
I wrote this to help you out.
would you kind of do like the ratios, or
Okay, the ratios of what?
of like essentially like the final over the initial, and see how those like ratios change.
So
Just like-
you want to calculate the
So like it would be like,
kind of like an apparent, that's what you're trying to calculate?
yeah, essentially, yeah.
Okay. What about if we go to what you called you said that we have a linear relationship, correct? So we could not try to go with this guy. This is so powerful. That's another thing. So I was saying earlier, a bit of plastic. It's a broad family of fluids that they essentially have, depending on what the yield stress is, could be Newtonian if the yield stress is 0, or depending on how much you need to apply to the fluid and to become a fluid, it will like basically shift this up, right? So what I will do is try to use this expression with what I wrote here to see what you can do. So what is shear rate? What's the definition of shear rate? I wrote here.
The shear rate's like the change in force, like proportional, or like parallel to the plate from,
Yeah. So we see the relation from static fluid, then using a right triangle, change whatever that velocity change in x, y. You over this, you realize that what we called the shear rate is differential velocity divided by differential height. And that's what we're talking about in the problem. We're talking about velocity, right? Which is it's part of your shear rate. So we can write that here. So now the shear rate is equal to differential velocity divided by differential height. Nice. So now we have velocity. Now we're looking for stress. But I was talking to you earlier that that's an equation for stress, right? So what do we do now? Give you some tools, some hints.
either like solve for the yield stress, or you do the log,
You solve for what?
you do the log, then you solve for log. Right, you do the logarithm.
For this one? So, you said, yes, Carlita.
I don't know if it's correct, but could we like say that shear's rate is like final velocity minus initial velocity over like pH that the problem give us, which is like the height,
Okay,
like try to
work with that,
to get maybe a
okay,
this.
The only- uh-huh,
I don't know, let me tell me that.
that's good. The only thing with that is that you're using a relationship between the difference between the final and initial, but you're not taking into consideration how the shear stress changes, but the addition of what you guys are saying is actually the answer. You have to work with the two, like, or at least three cases, solve for yield.
The yield stress.
Yes.
Okay.
So how do you do that? You're just like getting there. That's right. So we said that the shear stress is this. That's it. And we're saying that we have different scenarios when shear stress is 1, it's 3, and it's 8, and how it changes accordingly. So we can do is just right over there. So we know that shear stress 1, then we have some yield stress, which is always like how do you say constant plus the shear rate, which we said it was the velocity that change height. All multiplied by 1. And then we can take one of these two, say, which one do you want? 3 or 8?
3.
3. We can write the same. So we know that when we have 3 times shear stress, you're gonna get some yield stress, which is always gonna be the same, but you're gonna have how much? Yeah, 3 times the velocity. So 3 times the velocity. So what was, so we have 2 equations. And technically only want to know. Well, not technically, actually. So what do you do?
So for the yield,
Yes. So what do we do? What can we do?
just take one of the equations.
Okay, all right,
There is 1%.
uh-huh,
So yield would be like the shear stress minus the viscosity times the shear rate.
like that. Okay, I like that. Then what do you do with that? Want to put it here? Okay, let's do it. So we have 3 times. Okay. Now what? So we can put
So when you're getting a relationship between like the shear and the shear rate, it seems to be linear.
It is, yeah,
So maybe with that information, we can like conclude it's Newtonian. But or just like getting to the second equation and try to substitute.
so you're saying it's linear, okay? So you're saying. They're saying, what happens, so what would happen if I divide everything by two? What type of a question do I get?
You get like a straight line,
Uh-huh,
like a constant.
yeah. But what is this? We said it before, and we like change it a little bit. But this,
Shear.
sure,
Shear rate.
right, yeah, so we got. What equation is this?
The Newtonian.
Ta-da. See, I didn't solve it that way, so I'm really glad that it came out beautifully as it did, actually. I was just following your substance.
Can we like solve it with more complex numbers?
Huh?
Can we like, well, if can we like solve it with not directly
Oh yeah, let's do it. Why not?
proportional?
I mean, we have time. But the things I'm gonna cut this a little earlier today. Because we have a guest speaker coming out at 3 o'clock. No? No? No?
We just need 2 minutes.
Okay. So, let's see.
Yeah.
I'm not explaining this one, but it's only this information. I understand it's too. So the and it's like big and fast in physics. It's essentially the same as Will's plus the U strings being
So let's see. So let's see that we have.
You can try like
Oh, what?
guess you do like the same thing that you did before. Like you have your classic equation.
Classic equation. Let's try it. Yeah, shear stress, right? All right. Okay.
Just do the same thing where you write your like a big and plastic equation again, but using the like the given values or
Okay.
essentially like the shear rate as well. So
Okay.
it would be like 4. Would it be 4?
For like the velocity.
Yeah.
Okay, we can work with it. Let's see, 4, that's velocity. And is this stays same as 1 or change?
Maybe,
We're talking about this case. Oh,
yeah. Maybe 3.
mhm. Or what?
Then you essentially just solve for the yield stress of the second equation.
For this question.
Or essentially, you could also do it for the initial equation, it might just be easier.
Okay, so yield stress will be what?
Your shear rate minus the viscosity, or the change in velocity.
Okay. Now we substitute? Huh?
Like I already did it, and you get like 2 shear stresses are
Okay,
equal.
so 2 shear stresses.
Are equal to 3 times derivative of velocity related to y times viscosity.
Oh. That's not linear. Right? So if it's not linear, what does that tell you? Or you? So this one is linear, right? We have some translation. And we know for sure now that it's not an Newtonian because Newtonian is also linear. Okay. What could it be then?
The power law.
Huh?
The power law.
The power law? Yeah, power law. Yeah. Precisely. Oh no. Well, actually, I should have not done that, but it's okay. So let's try to do the same with the power law. Okay, so what's the equation for the shear stress? Power law?
Is shear stress is equal to A times shear rate to the power of M.
Okay. So we know that. All right. And then we know what? What else we can do? Oh, we did before.
We know the relation between
Okay.
shear.
Oh, we know that this is dv over dy, right? Alright, it's good. We know this. How do you want to use it? Yeah, alright, let's use it. So you're gonna want to use 3 or
Use 3.
3? Alright, we like it. You see, like basically what we're trying to come up with is an equation, or at least you're starting with, which I like. And then looking at that relationship and comparing to the relationship we both studied in class. So if it's linear, you know that it's either Newtonian or classic, and if it's not linear, or right? Great. Then we got for dv dy. No, what?
So we divide them
Okay, divided by what?
by the, I mean, like divided the one from the
This
left
like this equation or this equation?
Yeah.
Okay,
from the other way around.
that's fine. We can do that. So we divide this equation by this equation. What do we get? Hello.
We get like 3 in or 1/3.
Yeah.
If you go to this one here.
Would the n cancel out, or would you have to like give it to the four, or like distribute it? If you divide,
Usually when you have this type of equations, what you can do is like, substitute. But when you're dividing, you're changing the equations, because you have an equation, a function, and you're dividing that function by another function. So you're essentially creating another function. In this case, a little
Yeah, fine. Like,
while.
never mind. Then it's right.
Alright. Let's see. Well, what else we can do? I mean, we have 3 points, don't we? What happens, so let's see something really quick, so. If I have. Let's see. The y to the n. Alright? What happens if I then. And I multiply this y by some q. Alright? If I take the log of this. Like the property says, so we take the log of this. Properties say that when you have. Term like here, that's multiplying,
Just some.
right? So you got log of y plus log q. But also we have another property with exponents.
bring it down.
You bring it down, right? You got an exponent for whatever is in the inside. Yeah. No. So we're using this essentially that those properties. You can then write this weird expression into terms that are similar to the ones that we had before. So we log this. Essentially, we get the log of field stress equal to the log m plus m times the log of field stress.
And would you just do this like the same thing? The second equation. And then just like.
Remember that again, so multiplying, you can minus some. From there, you'll be able to calculate what I think either m or n are. I know that it's either thickening, but then. Right now, I'm going to stop the recording, but we can like chat in the library if you guys want. All right. Awesome.